everyone, and welcome to another Flosstube video. Today is, I had to think about it then for a second. I was like, what day is it? But no, today is Monday, the 2nd of January 2022, and this is my 17th Flosstube video, but actually after quite a long hiatus. I only filmed one video last year. I think it was in May. But I have a very good reason. Okay, my baby was born almost a year ago now, and that has taken up quite a lot of my time. But now that she's a little bit bigger, and a little bit more independent, she actually lets me put her down occasionally now. I'm hoping to get some of my stitchy time back, and be able to make videos on a little bit more of a regular basis than I did last year. I'm going to start off the year with a WIP Parade. I've got all my WIPs spread out around me in chronological order, so hopefully these will go in the order my oldest WIP to my newest WIP, and as I go through them I'll talk about my plans on what I'm going to do with them in the coming year. I took photographs yesterday of everything, so I have a lovely start of the year picture of everything to look back on next year, because I think looking through a lot of these, getting ready for this video, I was like, oh, I haven't really worked on this much, or I really thought I had this finished by now. But actually I think if I'd had a picture of it last year to compare it to, then maybe I would have felt a bit better about what I'd managed to get done. So I've taken pictures this year so that next December I can look back and say, oh, actually I've had a fairly productive stitchy year. At least that's the hope. Anyway, so we're 2 minutes in, but in case anybody new is watching, welcome. My name is Rachel, with a funny spelling, but we won't get into that today. You can always go back and watch previous videos. Yeah, I'm a British stitcher. I live in Birmingham, England, and yeah, I think you'll see from the projects that I show you, I have a very wide variety of stitching. Some people really like heavily lean into, I'm a sampler stitcher or I am a prim stitcher, and I stitch such a variety of things. But let's get into it and see where we end up. So my oldest WIP is from 2013. I know. I have shown it on this channel before. But the reason that I haven't worked on this very much, I would say, in the last 5 years is because when I started this, I was a teacher and I wanted to hang this in my classroom, and now I don't teach anymore. It kind of lost the love of the project a little bit for me. But now I have a little girl, and so I think if I can finish it, then maybe it will go in her room, and it will be a lovely piece. So this is from a magazine. It was from Cross Stitcher in April 2013, and I think I started it in the May. I remember I was working at a school, and there was an LNS on my way home, so what I did was I got off the bus early, went to the LNS, and brought Even Weave, and it was the first time I'd ever worked on Even Weave, so that was fun. And I brought all the floss, not from the same LNS, I brought it from a different store that I can buy floss from. So I brought the fabric first, and I went and brought all the flosses, I think that weekend, and then I started. So this is the Gruffalo. So the original artwork is obviously by Axel Scheffler. The Gruffalo was written by Julie Donaldson, Children's Laureate Julie Donaldson, and illustrated by Axel Scheffler. And so it was charted by, I guess, Cross Stitcher, someone who works for Cross Stitcher magazine. Sorry, there is a glare, but it's because I laminated the chart. Yeah, so it's the front of the book. It's fairly well known. They turned it into a TV adaptation several years ago. And I always really loved when we got to teach the Gruffalo in schools, because it used to be such a nice story and the children really respond to it. So this is where it is at. So there hasn't been a lot that has happened to it since probably the last time I showed it. I have finished his teeth, or his tusks, or whatever they call them, and I've filled in some of the sky because that was driving me crazy. There's just so much blue, and it's only like 3 shades of blue, so it's not a lot of confetti or anything. But oh my god, it was just endless filling, and it's, yeah. But it's mostly done now. I've only got a little bit, I think there were maybe 7 or 8 stitches of sky left to go, because I ran out of thread just here. And then the rest of this is all tree. So actually it's lots of shades of green coming up next. I've actually already started, you can see here, filling in this tree on this side. So yeah, I think my aim for this is I'd really like to have it finished this year. And I will just plug away at it, maybe do, 1,000 stitches here, 1,000 stitches there, and it will add up and it will be finished this year. 2023 is going to be the year that I finish it, so it'll be done in a little over 10 years. Maybe I'll try and finish it by May, and then it'll be a 10-year project and it's done. But yeah, that is on 28 count even weave. Don't know the brand, just plain white 28 count even weave. Stitch with all the cord for DMC floss. 2 strands over 2 even weave threads. So that's my oldest WIP, and yeah, this is going to be the year it gets finished. My next WIP, I'm going to look at my notes for the date that I actually started this. So I printed off my notes. So I actually started in November of 2018, and then I abandoned it for almost a year, and picked it up again properly during lockdown of 2020. So even though it started before then, it really has only gotten the love since that. So here is World Travel Bookcase by Aimee Stewart, and you've seen this a lot in my videos if you've watched previous episodes. I really love the chart. I love all of Aimee Stewart's charts, to be fair. They're all just such beautiful pieces. But this really spoke to me. My husband and I like to travel. We've actually managed to travel this year, even with baby, which has been amazing. She's so well travelled already, and she's not even 1 yet. She's been to Edinburgh and Amsterdam and Florida. So yeah, she's a little globe-trotting baby, but she's travelled more in her first year than I travelled in the first 29 years of my life. So yeah, so this is stitched on 25 count easy count. Is it easy count or easy grid or something like that? Easy count by Zweigart. 2/1. I know that 2 threads is a little bit bulky for some, and I think if I start another Haid, I'll probably do 1/1. Just to see and compare how different that makes it. It is quite bulky, but I quite like that look. I quite like that it's the coverage is really dense, and yeah, I love it so much. I didn't work on it much this year. I worked on it a little bit in January, and I think a little bit in maybe March. But it's so big, and getting it out when you've got baby and you're not quite sure how long the nap is going to last, or you've got a feed coming up, or it was tricky. So it hasn't been pulled out much this year, but last year technically, I suppose, but hopefully I'm gonna commit to it and get a little bit more done on her this year. But like I say, I have a photograph, so no matter how much I do or don't do on it, I'll be able to compare the two at the end of the year and say, actually, yeah, you know what, I didn't do too badly. Next on my WIPs list is Marvel Wreath. So this was based on artwork by Mandarinks Designs over on Etsy. It's not available anymore. The copyright police got to her. But this is what it will look like when it is completed. So you can see it's all the lovely Marvel items and objects. I started this with my brother in August of 2020. I thought it would be finished by his birthday that October. Can we all laugh at how silly I was? It is coming along though. Since the last time you saw it, especially, I think last time you guys saw it, I maybe had Iron Man's face done, but I hadn't done any of the Captain America shield, which I've now got filled in. Well, the outer ring anyway, and I've done a lot of work down here as well. So you've got Baby Groot starting to come in, and the cassette player from Guardians of the Galaxy there as well. So it is coming along slowly but surely. I've probably done 1,000 stitches or so in this since the last time you guys saw it. This is an 18 count white Aida. I think possibly DMC brand, but I wouldn't put money on it. Yeah, it does say DMC, so it must be. With all the called for DMC threads, and there is a lot of threads, and a lot of blends, which make that project particularly tricky. I don't think I'd ever worked with blends before picking up this project, so it was something new to learn, but something that I have discovered that I'm not particularly fond of. But then again, it does give that amazing look. So, you know, you kind of have to trade off. Okay, it's a little bit more work. You need a little bit more concentration, but actually it gives you such a depth of colour and realism to the piece. So, you know, you can get back what you put in with cross stitch, very much so. So, moving on, I have Celebrate Christmas by Madame Chantilly. I love her Celebrate series, the tiered trays. I want to do all of them. I'll try and show you the cover picture, but it has my address across the front, so I'm just going to, or my old address, I don't live there anymore. But yeah, that is the cover picture from the chart. You can check her out on Etsy. Just Madame Chantilly. Yeah, I love all of her tiered trays, and this is actually on a piece of even weave that I coffee dyed myself, because I started stitching it on white even weave and realised that was a massive mistake. None of the white showed up, and there was a lot of it in the chart, so I stopped what I was doing. I removed the stitches that I'd already put in, and I took the piece of fabric and dunked it in some coffee. And restarted it again a few days later. So it was started in December of 2020. It was either Boxing Day, I think, or maybe the day after. I think I might have dyed it on the Boxing Day and then started the stitching the day after once the fabric had dried. But I worked on this last summer when we were away, so maybe June. So it will have come on quite a way since the last time you guys saw it. I think I'd finished the middle tier the last time you guys saw it. So I started on the top tier and I got the cup of cocoa and the tree in. So now there's only the other side of that. I say only the other side. The other side contains a massive poinsettia or poinsettia, do you say? It has an I in it, so I would say poinsettia. Plants and a love robin. To go, and then it'll be the bottom tier, which it does intimidate me a little bit. This is just so much of it, but again, this is something that I'm really hoping to focus on maybe for Christmas in July, and maybe have finished before the Christmas season this year. It would be really nice to have it in my house displayed for Christmas 2023. Gosh, it seems funny thinking about Christmas of 2023 when I've still got my tree from 2022 up. It's coming down tomorrow. I really wanted to film this video with the tree in the background. So, oh, I don't know what just fell over, but something did. It's nice and quiet in the house at the moment. My husband has taken daughter out for a walk, so I thought I'd get video filmed whilst I could. Oh, sorry, I've not put the chart back in that bag. Okay, there we go. So that is project number 4. Project number 5 is the stamps by Lizzie Kate. You've seen them in previous videos if you've watched them. Currently, I have 10 done. I did, I think, 3 this year. December, July and August and September. So I've done 4 this year. And I'm now working on October. So this is October stamp There's a little scarecrow. I'm not sticking to the colours in the chart. It's a combination of DMC and Weeks, which is not really my jam. So I'm choosing my own colours from my stash, same as the fabric. It's just a 14 count Aida from my stash. And yeah, I've made a start. And I'll probably pick it up again on a month where I don't feel called to do anything else and I want some easy stitching. Because that is the great thing about working on 14 count Aida, is it's quite nice and easy. And the Lizzie Kate charts tend to be, you know, quite blocky and colour blocky, so you don't have to change colours every 3 seconds. So it can be nice to work on something simpler when your head's had enough of everything else. So I've put that here because I did start stitching the whole series, and I count the whole series as WIP rather than each individual chart. So I started stitching the whole series in January of 2021. 2021 I managed to do 6. 2022 I've done 4, so I have 2 left to go, October and November. They will be done this year. I'm not wasting any more time. When I finish them, I'll show you. I've got them all displayed in a little scrapbook, and then I turn the pages over every month and have it on my desk. It's so close to being done, and I just want to have it finished and displayed, and then I can cross that off my WIPs list. I actually have 13 WIPs, which is a bit of an unlucky number, so I'm hoping to get through quite a few of them soon, so that I can get that number down to a nicer, less unlucky number. I mean, it's unlucky for some. I try not to be too superstitious, but, you know. So, after that, sorry, I keep looking down. I am just looking at my notes. Peter Rabbit Sampler. So this was started in January of 2021 also. I think it was actually my New Year's New Start that year. And it had been in my, the chart had been in my possession for years and years. I think I bought it in 2004, 2006, one of those sort of years. It was an eBay purchase because it was actually, I think it was made in like 2000 maybe. I think it was for the centenary of Peter Rabbit, so it would have been 2001. So this is the Peter Rabbit Centenary Sampler. So anyone who knows me knows I love Beatrix Potter. I did an essay about her when I did my A-levels, my A-level in graphic design. I did an essay about children's illustrators, and I focused on Beatrix Potter in that essay. And you know, I read the books as a child, obviously, and I always loved them. But something special about that essay and the research that I did into her life and her works and all of that stuff. Yeah, just love her. We actually recently went to London and we saw the Beatrix Potter exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. Back to Nature, I think it was called. I've got the book. Let me go and grab it. Here we are. So there it is. It's Drawn to Nature, Beatrix Potter. It's a fantastic exhibition. And actually there was a gorgeous sampler as part of the exhibition that she hadn't made herself. I'm just now flicking through to see if there's a photograph of it. She hadn't made it herself, but it was like displayed in Hilltop Farm, her home. And I haven't actually had a chance to look through the book yet. It's quite hefty, but there's so many. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to have a real good look, like read through it. It's like little pages and all of her famous characters in there, which is just amazing. All of her protagonists. But no, there was a beautiful sampler that had been taken from Hilltop Farm, and it was displayed as part of the exhibition. I've got a photograph. If I can't find it in the book, I'll put the photograph that I took up here. No one knows who did it. It doesn't say if you know, and you. But it was just beautiful to see. I didn't expect it. But the exhibition was lovely. It was real nice to go and see. We went to London at the end of November for my husband's birthday trip. and we took Isabel to see Father Christmas at John Lewis on Oxford Street. So yeah, it was a really lovely day actually, to go to the exhibition and then see Father Christmas and then have a lovely meal at Gordon Ramsay's burger place inside Harrods. It was a really, really good day. But yeah, so this is the Beatrix Potter Centenary Sampler. The last time you guys saw it, I think I had started the owl, but now I have finished the owl and moved on to Peter Rabbit in the bottom right hand corner there. So it's coming along slowly but surely. I actually worked on him. I remember working on him when we were in Amsterdam for my birthday last year. So that may have been slightly just before I last filmed a video. Maybe, no, just after, because it was the end of May. So yeah, it would have been just after my last video. So I did actually touch this year, which is nice. After that, we have the Alice in Wonderland cell from Cross Stitching magazine in 2020. I started it in May of 2021. I think it may have been a 1st of May start. You can go back and look at previous videos, it will be detailed there. I'm just trying to find the cover photo of the whole chart. Not like all 12 pieces of the sal in front of me. But somewhere on here is a full picture of the finished article. No, there it is. So this is what the finished piece will look like. And it's different parts of the story. Alice in Wonderland, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I'm actually going to read the book this year. It's in my plans to read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by, author's name escapes me. I've got a copy of the book upstairs. It's gone. Mum brain, in full force today. But yeah, this was a sale through 2020. They released one a month throughout the year in the magazine. I bought it all at the end of 2020 and then gathered my supplies ready, and I started it in May of 2021. And this is where we are at. I think it's come along quite nicely. So last time you guys saw it, I had the centre sort of border done, and I'd done a few of the little trinkets, but I've since stitched 4 more of the borders and started in on Alice in that top left. Probably looks right to you. I'll flip it in the editing so that you can see it. But yeah, there she is. It's very fiddly. It's on a piece of linen. It's the first time I ever worked on linen. Not a massive fan. I prefer even weave. I'm not a fan of the slubs that come up in linen. I'm not a fan of the fact that none of the fibres are even. So some stitches look bigger than others, and some people really love that about linen, and I'm just not a fan. I prefer even weave. But I like that I've worked on it, and I'm going to persevere with that piece because I love it so much, and I think it will look great when it's finished. It will be worth the work if I can ever sit down and get some work done. I don't have any concrete plans for this year, other than I just want to work on it and see some progress. I'll be happy if I get to the end of the year, I think, and I've done the top 3, I think. Yeah, I think if I can sit here in a year's time and say, look, I've got the top 3 motifs done, I'll be happy. And I think that's really realistic. After last year, I tried to do WIP Go in 2022 and it didn't really work for me. It worked really well for the first half of the year also. And then I got to July and I was like, I don't want to work on that. Why are you telling me what to work on? I don't want to do that. And so I then fell off the bandwagon and stopped doing WIP Go. So I won't be doing WIP Go this year. I'll be making my own rules and deciding what I want to work on, when I want to work on it, and going on in that way. So that is number 7. Number 8 is a Dimensions kit. So this is Travel Memories by Dimensions. I started working on this on my birthday in 2021. We were on honeymoon in Cornwall at the time. So this is the finished article. I love this so much. It reminds me of the trip that I took to Paris with my husband back in 2017. I just love that every time I get it out, I'm reminded of that trip and the amazing time that we had. And so this has gotten some love. I took this to Florida with us when we went on holiday, and I didn't get any stitching done on the plane because I was holding a baby for most of the flight. Most of the flight home anyway. Most of the flight there, my husband took her quite a lot, and she was in the bassinet on the plane. But I was so nervous about flying with a baby that I didn't do any stitching on the plane. Also, I'd forgotten my needle. We had to order some needles whilst we were there. We had them delivered to an Amazon locker near our hotel so that I could do some stitching on holiday. If you are following me over on Instagram, it's the same name as my YouTube channel, RJP Crafts. I posted pictures on there of me stitching by the pool whilst my husband was in the pool with a little girl. And so I'm officially halfway done. I had, I think, the butterfly done last time you guys saw it, but I've since done all of the background. I'd gotten most of the pen in as well, I think, but I managed to get all of the background in, and I've started moving across so that I can come over and do the Eiffel Tower next. Again, this is another chart that has so many blended threads and half stitches, and it's a lot more work, but again, it's really worth the work. When you take a step back and look at the image, you'll just, I'm blown away just by how amazing the project looks from a distance. All that extra work really does make a difference. So that was number 8. Number 9 was the Cookie Exchange Sal from Hands On Design. This was last December. And it hasn't changed since the last time you guys saw it, but I'm going to show you anyway. So this is where it is at. It needs just backstitch now, I think. And I think there are some holly berries here, and then there is just backstitch to do. And then I want to finish it into a pillow. I'm going to try and find some nice turquoisey backing fabric and have it as a little Christmas pillow somewhere in the house next Christmas. This is stitched on 32 count Murano Even weave in the colour Vintage Atlantic by Zweigart. I had to look online. There was no colour printed on the packet that I bought this in, but I had a look online, and Vintage Atlantic is the colourway, and I've still got a fair bit of this fabric left, so I'm definitely going to use it for something else as well. It really is a beautiful colour. All of the vintage colours, I think, by Zweigart are just lovely. Sad that my budget doesn't quite allow for me to go out and purchase a fat quarter of all of them. But I really love Murano. Again, it's in even weave, which is perfect for me. It's my favourite type of fabric. And that's a 32 count, which is a size that I'm really happy with. Next, Snow Queen by Mirabilia. So this was my New Year's start last year, and I always thought I'd never be a Mirabilia stitcher. They just never really appealed to me. But this chart, I've seen other people stitch it, and it just blew me away. It's just so beautiful. And it reminds me of Frozen and winter and a lovely time of the year. So I'm actually doing this on linen. It's a piece of 32 count Belfast linen in the colour Glacier by Picture This Plus. I ordered it through 123 Stitch, so it came all the way from America. I had my mother-in-law help me zigzag stitch the edges of the piece, I think she did. Somebody zigzagged it. If it wasn't my mother-in-law, then maybe it came like this, but I doubt it. But it is a blue, and some of the stitches, I was really worried they weren't going to show up well. But looking at the chart, I do think they will show up more once you've got the whiting, because this blue here is part of, that's the back of her dress, and that's like the middle, and then there's white next, so I think the white will make it show up more once it's all in. But I haven't done very much at all. It's a couple hundred stitches, maybe 300-400 stitches that I've managed to get in, but I'm really happy with it. I mean, it's linen, which isn't my favourite. Some of the stitches do look a little uneven, but that's stitching on linen for you. But and also some of those will be hidden by beads when nothing is done. I do really love this very great thread by, it's the Karen Waterlilies thread. I really love working with it. It's just stunning. And the variegation is beautiful. I have all of the called for DMC, Karen, and the Krynic ready to go. We also have all of the beads. I brought the bead kit for my birthday last year with the money that my mother-in-law gave me. So I have all the beads ready to go when I get that far. And I'm clearly a long way away from that. Again, this year, I don't have any concrete plans. I would like just to see some progress. And I have that photograph of where it is now, so that this time next year I can hopefully see some progress. At some point, I've just ripped the ribbon off my box, so I'm going to have to try and repair that later. I have this lovely box. It was from Wilkinson's UK, and it had this really gorgeous measuring tape closing ribbon, and I've just pulled the bottom off, so I'm going to have to try and repair that later. I've got some super glue somewhere. So that is number 10. Number 11 is actually 2 charts because it's a series, and I tend to count series as 1 WIP rather than 2. So this is Little Spring Moments and Little Summer Moments from Jardin Privé. I have previously finished the autumn and winter versions, so this is Little Spring Moments. I did pick this up in the summer, but I didn't do much work on it. But I originally started this in January of 2022. I actually was working on it in the hospital when I was being induced with my daughter. I'll put a picture here. I was in the hospital for 5 days before they gave me the hormone drip to sort of bring along the active labour, because my labour had stalled and my waters had been broken for 48 hours by that point, and they were getting a bit worried. So, but I did some lovely work on this during my hospital stay, and I have picked it up again since. So I really love this. I think I did some work on this maybe when we went to Edinburgh. I seem to remember. I definitely remember sitting on a train and doing some work on this. So maybe this is at the same place you guys saw it last time, because yeah, I definitely seem to remember sitting on a train and hubby watching baby and me doing some stitching. So I've got most of the bottom half done. I've just got the love heart to do, and these little blue cornflower blue flowers here, and the daisy, and then I get to move on to the house and that up at the top of the chart. So this is on 18 count printed Aida from clairebrownxstitch.com. She is a British fabric printer. They're very similar to the Fabric Flare designs. But yeah, that's 18 count with the called for DMC. Started in January of last year. I will finish this spring. There's no question about it. It will be finished by the end of the year. I have a concrete plan for this one. It will be finished this year, as will hopefully the summer. So this is Small Summer Moments by the same designer. So there is the cover photo. I love the bunny rabbit. There's an animal on each of them, and I'm just in love. So obviously spring has the sheep, autumn has a fox, and winter has a reindeer. And They're just so adorable. So I worked on this, I've got it written down. So I started it in July of last year, so you won't have seen this at all. This is another clear brown X-stitch printed fabric, 18 count Aida, and it's printed with honeycomb design because I thought that was perfect for summer. And I've finished the biggest motif, the big poppies. It's weird because I always associate poppies with autumn for remembrance, but they're on this lovely summer sampler, if you like. I think it's a sampler. Is it considered a sampler? I had a question about this from someone that I work with and they saw me working on it. Is it a sampler? I don't really know. Because a sampler is lots of small motifs, essentially. So this would be a sampler, but it's not in the traditional sense of like having the letters and the floral. I don't know. If you know, please tell me. Educate me, please. But yeah, 18 count Aida with called for DMC. And I just love... I got all the border in because that's the most boring part. And then I did the biggest motif thinking, great, that way I can work now on little sections as I like. And I quite like that each little section feels like a mini finish. There were some changes that I wanted to make to this though, because I was looking at it and I don't like that Jardin Privé, I love their charts. It's not a criticism of them, but there's a washing basket here underneath the washing line and it's the same colour as the border and I don't quite like that, so I may change that to a different colour that's used in the chart. So I think there's another brown that's not used in this chart but it's used in the other charts in the series, and I think I may use that to do the wash basket. Or maybe I'll do something else, like we have a purple wash basket at home, so maybe I'll stitch it in purple so that it's like our wash basket. And there is a purple in the series, so maybe I'll use that. But I don't have to decide yet. I've got some time to work around it. Same as the bunny. I'm not sure the bunny will show up very well because this is like a cream fabric with gold honeycomb, and I'm not sure the bunny will show up very well if he's in white, so maybe I'll stitch the bunny in a brown so that he shows up a little bit more. I've got some time to decide. Again, I want to finish this year if possible. So that I have all 4 completed and they can come off my WIP list. Again, it's a nice small-ish project, so it shouldn't be unreasonable to expect to be able to finish that in the coming year. So then you've got 12. Now this was, I did post this on my Instagram. There was a chart, and I'm going to post a picture of the cover because I have the digital copy of the magazine. But Cross Stitching magazine, or the World of Cross Stitching, posted a design, and it's very much similar to Stitching with the Housewives, Home is Where the Wreath Is, or Ravaris's homes, where they've got the seasons and the different things making the O in the seasons. So they had home, so this is just put on some sticky board. It's not particularly straight now I'm looking at it, but it's good enough for me. So this was very tedious to fill in all the letters, but it stitched up quickly. I only did it on 14 count Aida with I think I may have used 3 strands of DMC because I'd never liked the coverage with 2 strands of DMC on 14 count. Black anyway. It's fine for other colours, but black doesn't show up amazingly well. And then you stitch the different motifs to be the O. So I've only done the one that I did this for in July. So I did the sunshine for the O. And this is just a stitched on plastic canvas, so I'm going to put some Velcro on the back, or a magnet if I can find some magnets, or a washer, and I'll put the magnet on the thing. But yeah, so you can change them out. And I've stitched the sunshine, and I've got the rainbow in progress. It goes that way around because there's a cloud underneath it. And then I'm going to stitch, this month I'm going to do, I'll finish rainbow, and I'm going to stitch the snowflake and the love heart, so that I've got January and February done. They are quite nice stitches because even though it's plastic canvassing, you can't do the sewing method. You have to stab and pull, stab and pull. It's just quite relaxing. It's not a lot of colours. And I've actually got a way to display it. So I bought this board from the works, stuck some paper in the middle because it had these. I actually injured myself making this. It had little pegs, so you were supposed to like attach it to your wall and have this way around. Attach it to your wall and like put things on the pegs and things. I didn't want to do that, so I got a chisel and removed the pegs. They were stuck on with some sort of heavy-duty super glue, and it took a lot of effort to get them off, but got them off I did. And then I've stuck some paper in the middle part for your backing. We'll stick home in the centre like this. And I'll probably get some sort of, I don't know, ribbon or something to decorate or hang from the bottom maybe each month, and then I will change out the O. Like this. I may stick it somewhere in the entrance of our house. Maybe attach something to the bottom of it to keep letters in or something, just to make it a bit more functional. But no, I'm quite happy with how that's come along. I really loved the Home is Where the Wreath Is series from Stitching with the Housewives, but those letters are just enormous, and the thought of stitching them all it gave me a headache. And then some of the O's weren't really very British, like obviously they're American designers, so the July, for example, is Fireworks and Uncle Sam, and that's not going to fly over here, and the November is very pilgrimy, and we don't celebrate Thanksgiving over here, so it just really didn't make much sense to me to stitch that. And whereas this one is quite versatile for different locations, and obviously the World of Cross Stitching is a British publication anyway, and the letters are so much smaller and were easier to stomach stitching for long periods of time. So there is my number 12. Number 13 is my most recent start. I started this in November of 2022. It is stitched on, I want to say 20 count. I've got it written down. Yeah, 20 count Country Mocha Aida. I ordered it from Lakeside Needlecraft, and I just love this. This is Reindeer Games by Erica Michaels. I have made some changes, and there are more changes that I'm going to make to the finished design. But here is the cover photo. Sorry about the glare, it's still in its plastic. When there are little hands around, it's nice to have things covered in plastic so they don't get ruined. But you can see there, it's all the names of Santa's reindeer and Christmassy themed things. And then there are the reindeers and Santa and an elf and lots of holly. So I'm going to make some changes, and I already have made one change. The main change that I've made is when I posted this on Instagram, I said I changed this to Donna. The original calls for Donda, which is the original spelling of Santa's reindeer. But I always hear Donna now, so I think maybe that's the traditional spelling, and the more contemporary is Donna. And I think it's in A Night Before Christmas as well. I mean, I've got the book right here because I read it to my daughter on Christmas Eve. I wanted to start that tradition. Let's see. I actually have the version with the CD because I used to play it when I worked in schools. It's nice to not have to read it out loud, to just press play, and because then you get to watch the children as they listen to the story, and it's just so magical. So the bit where he calls them by name. Here we go. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donda, and Blitzen. So it is Donda in the original Clement C. Moore version of The Night Before Christmas. So that's obviously the traditional spelling, but I've always heard it as Donna. So I have changed it to Donna. Luckily, it's the same number of letters. and there were already charts for those letters, so I didn't have to worry about recharting anything, but I just changed it to Donna. The other changes that I'm going to make, I'm not a big fan of the amount of holly that's used on two sides of the chart. It's a lot of holly, and it doesn't go all the way around, so it's not a true border. So I'm thinking I may just put holly in the corners, because there is holly in all four corners, and then I may replace the rest of the holly with snowflakes. The smaller snowflakes that are already in the chart, so I won't have to rechart anything. I'll just replace all the holly with little snowflakes. I can't get it so that there's no glare. I'll take it out. Sorry about the crinkle. Okay, so I won't have to rechart anything. I'll just take the smaller snowflakes that are already charted and replace the holly for those. So I'll have holly in the corners, but they're not all the way down the right hand side or across the top. I think if it's more consistent and it went all the way around the chart, then maybe I'd feel differently about it, but it doesn't. So I just don't feel like stitching all that holly. Oh, and the other change that I've made is that actually the back stitch that goes around the letters, it only goes around the outside of the word, so the only squares that are stitched on all four sides with that back stitch, that like running stitch if you like, are the ones that intersect two different words. I'm not explaining this very well, but I've actually put it around every letter because I quite like how that looks, so I've actually put back stitch around every single letter in it, all of the words. Again, this is, I don't think this will be finished by the end of this year, but I want to see the progress by the end of next year. I want to see some of the reindeers in. I mean, I got all of this done in less than a month. All the letters were done in less than a month, so I don't think it's impractical to think that I can probably get most of the reindeers in the next year. And it's a really lovely chart. I do love working on it. It was really nice to work on through the end of November and the beginning of December. Made me feel a little bit Christmassy. Because it took a while for me to feel Christmassy this year. I love Christmas. I've talked about it before on my channel. Love Christmas. But this year it didn't feel like Christmas until right at the end of December. Like maybe the week before Christmas I started to feel Christmassy. And I thought I would feel more Christmassy this year because I've got a baby to celebrate with and introducing her to all the lovely traditions of Christmas. But yeah, it took me a while to feel Christmassy. But the stitching Christmassy things does help with that. I keep getting distracted. There's this bauble here that I got to make with my daughter. Lots of mums that I know got together and we went to a pottery place and we turned our baby's footprints into a penguin. So that was for her first Christmas. Painted some holly on the back because I was like, there was a very blank space. I would have loved to have taken her handprint and turned it into like a reindeer like some of the other mums did, maybe in that space, but she slept for the first hour and quarter that we were there. And I wasn't waking the baby up for having that because that's a recipe for disaster. The tree is coming down tomorrow, sadly. Always feel quite disappointed when the tree comes down and Christmassy things go away, but we had a lovely Christmas. My family came over and I had a lovely time. Although I was quite sick, it turns out I tested positive for COVID the day after Christmas. I felt quite sick the day before Christmas Eve, like I had got a really sore throat and I thought I was getting like a throat infection because of the stress of Christmas. I thought, you know, I'm working Christmas Eve and I'm feeling a little run down and maybe it's just stress and I'm just getting a throat infection because that tends to happen to me when I get stressed. And then on Christmas Eve, it was full-blown like cold symptoms and I thought, you know what, I had the flu shot last year, so it's been years since I've been exposed to any kind of cold and it's just really hit me hard. I got my husband to bring me some tablets whilst I was working, and then on Christmas Day it was more of the same. I just felt rotten. Luckily my sister took care of most of the cooking and I could just enjoy the day with Isabel. And then on the Monday, on the Boxing Day, we were supposed to go see my husband's family, and we thought, you know what, we've got some COVID tests, I'll take one and just see. But I really didn't think I had it, and when that second line showed up on the test, I was floored. I managed to avoid it for 2.5 years, and so finally getting it felt like a bit of a ugh. But I really felt terrible. Monday and Tuesday particularly, I was really, really bad. I was so lethargic, I was coughing so much, and yeah, I couldn't breathe, I was sniffling. It was, and you can't get to a pharmacy, of course, on Boxing Day, because it was a bank holiday. Boxing Day fell on a Monday, so it was bank holiday, and so no one was open, so I had to wait till Tuesday for my husband to be able to go and get me some medicine. But I am feeling much better now. I'd say yesterday and today I'm sort of 80% better. I'm still coughing a little, managed to avoid it in this video. I still got a bit of a tickle, but I have had 2 negative tests. I had a negative test on Saturday and one again yesterday morning, so I went to see my husband's family yesterday, and that was really lovely. Isabel loves to see her grandparents and her cousins, so it was really nice to go and see his family yesterday. But yeah, so I've just rambled for an extra few minutes. But that is my WIP Parade for the beginning of 2023, and I'm really excited to see what stitchy goodness 2023 has. I don't have any plans for new starts in the immediate future. I do have, my husband treated me to a chart for Christmas. Got the cover page here. This is Van Gogh's Starry Night, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I have some money from my mother-in-law that's going to go on fabric and the first sort of 20 or so flosses, and that will be my birthday start in May. I plan to start nothing else until then, unless something amazing comes up in a magazine or something. I want to focus on these WIPs and get them down, get the number of them down, and make a really good start to 2023 and getting some of these down. I mean, I know that 13 is by no means a large number. So many of the WIP parades that I've watched in the last week, you know, people have got 50, 60 WIPs, and that's insane. And I don't think I could cope if I had that many. But 13 just, it does feel like a lot to me, and I want to get several of them ticked off the list before the end of the year. The Jardin Privé charts I want done, the Lizzie Kate Stamps I want done, and that Gruffalo, I want him done. He has been 10 years in the making, and I think he needs to be finished. And hopefully, if I finish him before May, that will be a 10-year achievement. With lots of big gaps in between stitching, you know, sessions, but he'll be finished, and that will bring me, I think, some peace. It'd be nice to finish the Marvel one as well for my brother, but I'm not going to push myself too hard on that one. If it's finished in time for it to be his Christmas gift next year, or this year, I should say, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. He's not going anywhere, it's not going anywhere. I can finish it some other time, but it would be nice to get that ticked off too. So hopefully I will be back in a month or so and show you what I've been working on, what I've got done, the progress that I have made. I think I will have a sufficient amount of stitchy time this month, because one of the things that's been taking me away from stitching is Disney Dreamlight Valley, the game. I don't know if any of you play. Please comment down below and let me know if you do, because I really enjoy it. It's kind of like what Animal Crossing should have been, but with the added fun of it being Disney characters. And I love Disney, always have. You can see Minnie Mouse on my tree just here. Mickey is somewhere Peter Rabbit's down here. My tree is just such a glorious, like, it's all of my favourite things. And my husband, oh bless him, he has his own tree in his office because I've just filled the tree with stuff. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry about the music going off. That is my washing machine. Samsung decided to fit all of the washing machines with this do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Samsung fitted all the washing machines to do that when they finish their cycle. Not too embarrassing for it to happen on here, but when my husband is working from home and doing meetings and that goes off, and it's quite a long little jingle that it does, it can be quite embarrassing for him, but it is what it is. You gotta get laundry done. Yeah, I was saying, I filled our tree with all of my favourite things, and my husband had to have a tree of his own in his office, the one that he had before we got together, and that has all of his little train ornaments and things on it, because I just took over the big tree. I want a bigger one next year. I think it would be really nice to move this one into his office and then move and get a nice, bigger, more fuller looking tree, because this one looks quite bare. Like you can see the middle branch in the middle of this one. I mean, it is artificial, it's not real. We just figured it was better for the environment to get an artificial one. And there's nothing wrong with it, it's just a little barer than I would like. I would like a nice full one going forward. We have here, this is our ornament from going to see Father Christmas with our daughter. So you can see she was absolutely enchanted with him. She just loved seeing him. Some children I know don't really like meeting Santa when they're that young. It can be quite scary for them, but she was an absolute star and she just couldn't stop looking at him. She was just so enchanted by all the lights and the shiny things. But no, I hope you guys have had a really lovely Christmas and celebrated New Year in whatever way made you happy. I loved seeing on Instagram everyone's New Year's Eve 12 by 12, and I think I may participate in that next year. This year it was just not going to happen with me being sick and with having such a little baby. It was just, we were asleep before midnight and we got woken up by fireworks, and I was terrified that they were going to wake baby up, but luckily she slept straight through. She's been sleeping so much better. I mean, that's probably, touch wood, because that's probably going to ruin it by me saying that, but she's been sleeping so much better recently, and it's been great to have nights where we don't have to get out of bed and go and get her and bring her into our bed, which is what was happening up until about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, so I'm going to stop waffling and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like and a comment, and if you have enjoyed watching me, subscribe as well, and hopefully this year my updates will be a little bit more consistent, let's say, than they have been the last couple of years, because everything's just got so busy and so crazy. But I'd love to hear from you. That's why I joined Flosstube in the first place. I wanted stitchy friends. So yeah, do get in touch if you have any questions, or you want to share the projects that you're working on. If you're working on anything that I'm working on, let me know. It's always it's part of the fun, isn't it, of stitching something and having other people stitch the same thing that you're working on. It makes you even more excited to keep working on the projects. I love watching Flosstubers who are working on the same projects I am to see where we are in comparison, although, comparison is a thief of joy, and I do try not to compare myself to other people, but it's hard. It's very hard in the days of social media for that not to happen. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep stitching, and I will see you later on in the year. Bye, guys.